Welcome to the Daring CEO Co-op podcast, where we celebrate entrepreneurs who dare to build a business on their own terms. I'm your host, Denise Klein, and each episode, we're going to dive into stories, talents, and passions of those who are redefining success and making their mark by sharing their gifts with the world. Join us for inspiration, real talk, and actionable insights as we embrace the power of daring to do business your way. Right, here we go. Hey, entrepreneurs. Welcome to another episode of the Daring CEO podcast. I'm super excited today because we have not one, but two guests today because we have mom and daughter duo from Wernecke Wellness. Ladies, thank you so much for coming and spending a little bit of time with us this afternoon. For those of you who have not met these lovely ladies, they are doing holistic health coaching, and I will get them to actually explain to you what that is. But as entrepreneurs, one of the first things that we let slip off the list is ourselves and taking care of ourselves. So with the support of these ladies, we could put our health and put ourselves back on the list. Ladies, thank you for coming and spending some time with us today.
Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, let's talk a little bit about what Wernecke Wellness is, and then we'll talk about your journey to get here. So tell us a little bit about Wernecke Wellness.
So Wernecke Wellness is a holistic wellness business where we take the time to get to the root cause of your health issues or health concerns that you might be experiencing. We take a dive into bioenergetics. We can order blood work and look at it on a functional level to get optimal levels. And then we take a deep dive into your diet, exercise, stress, toxins, emotions,
rest,
and
supplements.
The whole picture.
That's the holistic part of it, right?
Yes.
Where we're looking at everything.
Yes.
I know we've gotten to talk a little bit before, and I know I'm not the only one who feels this way. A lot of times when we go and we find a health practitioner of some kind to help us, a lot of times they just are treating the symptom of the thing and not really looking at the root. And I feel like you guys take the opposite approach. You're looking at all the root things, and the symptoms really are helping you point. Is that accurate?
Yes, it's accurate, because sometimes the symptoms aren't even the root of the problem. Leah and I've been talking, we look at it as an iceberg, and we can look at your symptoms up top and put a Band-Aid on those, but then everything that's going on underneath the water, that is the problem area.
Yeah.
So it's really trying to figure out the root of what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah. And I love that. And it occurs to me, I just said the Wernecke Wellness. I didn't. It's Leah and Sheri, by the way. I know their name. I think I should
Leah.
probably know that. Leah and Sheri, got it backwards. So I love this so very much because I think, all right, I'll just say, I think as women, especially women of a certain age, like we put everybody else on the list before ourselves, and myself included, trying to do much better about that. And so I love that you've taken this approach and you give people an opportunity not just to look at the data, right? Because you want to look at the blood work and all of that thing, but you're looking at how are they sleeping and the emotions and the whole person. I just don't feel like that is something that happens a lot. One of the terms that I know that you have used is functional, like what functional medicine. Can you explain, like, what does that mean, functional medicine?
I mean, to me, it's looking really at the functions of the body. It's not like your symptoms are important, but your body functions as a whole. And I think a lot of doctors, a lot of areas, they only look at specific things where the body as a whole functions together. So what's happening in your gut is going to affect your brain. You know, your emotions can sit in different places. You know, stress is going to affect all of your body. So your body really functions as a whole. So to me, when we look at things functionally, you're a whole person.
Yes.
We don't want to just focus on one aspect of what's going on.
Yeah. I just love that. And I feel like, I mean, that's what medicine should really, a medical approach should be altogether.
Amen. Yes.
All right. So we will come back to that because I do have some specific questions. But as we sit here today, you weren't just plucked from the ground as functional medicine specialist. So how did the two of you end up here? And I love that you guys are doing it together. So you kind of have two stories here. So what
Yeah.
led you to wanting to
It was
specialize
my
in
problem child.
it always is. There's always a problem to be solved. It's not always
Right.
a person though.
So I started having issues when I was 8 years old. I had abdominal migraines, and then since then it's been a continuous journey of traveling from doctor to doctor, getting labels of like ADHD. I had hormone issues, gut issues. The list could go on and on, but
Central nervous system issues.
yes, and the doctors were constantly chasing the symptom, like we talked about, and they weren't taking the time to look at my body as a whole to see what might be causing the stress and causing the symptoms. So finally, it was when I had the central nervous system issues that we were like, this is not working.
Yeah.
And we decided to take matters into our own hands and focus on the bare minimum of we can control what goes in my mind and what goes in my mouth. Just got me outside.
Yeah. Yeah, it really started from that because we got tired. As a mom, you never want to see your kid hurting. So
Never.
we were running frantically. Anything the doctor said, I did. And she would always have reactions. And it wasn't really till we took a deep breath and stepped back. And like Leah said, I'm like, we can control two things: what goes in your mind, what goes in your mouth. And it all started. And then the more we grew and the more we learned, we figured out, you know what? Her pain has become our purpose.
Yeah.
Your life is important. Your health is important. I always tell people it's not selfish to take care of yourself. And, you know, as a mom, if you're sick, everyone is down.
Yes.
So it's important to take care of yourself. And, you know, we have found out, not that doctors are bad or all medications are bad.
No.
Not saying that at all, but a lot of times they mask what's really going on.
Yeah.
So we really dove into, let's figure out what's going on at the root and rebalance your body so it can get more into a homeostasis of how you were made to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is how we started.
Yeah. And I love that. And I think that that is something that's really important is that, and I've heard that before, like, you know, if we could just remove the things that are causing, and it could be, I mean, and it's everywhere, right? It's in the food that we eat. It's in the things we drink, lotions we put on our bodies. It's in our water. I mean, there's just so many things that can, you know, mess with your hormone levels. I mean, I think a lot of people, we don't really think about hormones, but insulin is a hormone. A lot of times we hear hormones, we think, you know, sex hormones, you know, male, estrogen and testosterone. But there's so much more to that, and what we eat and all those things can throw those out of whack.
Absolutely.
So easily.
Yeah.
So as you were, you know, going down this path, Mom, I'm assuming you were kind of leading the charge to go down this, but obviously, you know, Leah had all of this in her mind. So is that, so as you got older, you just decided to kind of lean into this learning together too?
Well, I'll tell you, Leah had, she was at SU studying psychology and had thought about going into occupational therapy.
Yes.
And there she met someone who was becoming a nutritional therapist. Because her question, the nutritional therapist that Leah ran into, she said, so many of these kids are sick. You know, autism is skyrocketing, ADHD is skyrocketing, and everyone's putting Band-Aids instead of asking why. Why is this happening? Is what we try to get to our clients too. You know, instead of like just deal with it, let's figure out why it's happening, what is going on. And so from there, Leah was like, Mom, we need to do this together. And so that's, you know, that's where we started.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's been our heart all along, but it was meeting another lady who she does similar what we do, started us really down this path.
Yeah. I love that. One of the things that floored me, and I was going through, I had to go through fertility treatments to have my son. He's my miracle baby, my one and only. And I can remember when I was going to the doctors and stuff then, and I was looking at a lot of different things, right? They're running all these tests, and we started talking about like food, and I was asking questions, right? I'm trying to advocate for myself.
Yes.
And because I was diagnosed with PCOS. So for those who don't know what PCOS is, it definitely messes with your hormones, but it can make your periods irregular. It can make your hair fall out, which mine did. This is a wig, y'all. I'm just saying, all kinds of things. But like, I'm asking because I'm like, well, if I can help and change things with diet, it stunned me how little the doctors knew about diet and correlation of diet with the things they were diagnosing. And again, nothing bad against doctors. I mean, I kind of think they're kind of taught to be in their lane and stay in their lane.
Yes.
And that does not lead to a holistic approach.
We often say we have more of a sick care system. I mean, you go to the doctor when you're sick. It's not, in my opinion, isn't really a health care system.
No.
Yeah.
Because like you said, with hormones, there's so many different things that can affect your hormones. And it's not that your body's broken. Your body is out of balance. And so we have to figure out
what's causing that imbalance.
Yeah. We're like detectives of really sorting through all the information we can gather to figure out what stress is going on in your body to then rebalance it. PCOS, there's a lot of people walking around, with that issue. And it just takes time to really listen. We spend a lot of time with our clients and gathering a lot of information. And then we always say it's like a jigsaw puzzle, putting everything together, to get to the why it's going on.
And I have to think too, it has to take time to unravel that knot of, if you have, I'm almost 50. So if I come to you and you've got this almost 50-year-old woman who has this whole lifetime of bad habits and misunderstood things. So it's got to take some time to like, you didn't get unhealthy overnight. So it takes time to get healthy again over time. So when you're working with clients, I'm assuming like you're kind of in it for the long haul with them, like, kind of like a doctor could be, because you would see them over and over during their entire transformation. Yeah.
And really, I mean, we really want to empower people to take control of their health. So it does take, we usually, clients, we used to do a minimum of 4 months. We're wanting to switch to 6 months, which scares people. But true change happens over time.
Yes.
And people become overwhelmed. We always tell them, let's just do 1% better, every day, 1% better. We don't have to change everything and overwhelm you because that's stressful.
Right.
So just, keep learning, keep growing, and, they can get there.
Yeah.
Once your eyes are open, you start looking at things differently and what a gift your health is. And it just starts the ball rolling for a lot of people.
Well, and I think too, kind of tying this back to entrepreneurs, since that's kind of who we're talking to, one of the things that I remind myself, and I have to remind myself of this, my business doesn't run without me. And your life doesn't run without you. So if you're not, if you're not taking care of your health, then nothing else can be there. And so, we definitely need to put ourselves on the list and take care of our health stuff. So for those of us that are out here kind of listening and think, okay, I want to be healthier. If they're going to come to you, is there a specialty that you help with? Because I'm thinking, perimenopausal woman here, I probably would be a good person for you guys to help me. So we'll talk after. But I would assume you work with people of all ages.
Yes, we thought that we were going to work with like menopausal women. That's who we expected to work with coming in, but we've been surprised. It's been a whole range, ranging from 20-year-olds to 70-year-olds. So we're really wanting to reach anyone and everyone who wants to take control of their health, and we want to empower them to, again, take control of it and get to the root cause.
Yeah. Do you have what we didn't, which we know is a lot of younger people are a lot sicker just because of the world we live in.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we did not expect that, but our hearts are really to help people live a good life.
Yeah, the people that want. So yeah, if you want a healthier life, then you're a good
There's none
prospect.
that we do. So,
Yeah.
you have this chance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know when we talked before and you mentioned earlier, you guys would look at like blood work, right?
Yes.
And so like you help them order their blood work. So you're not through, you don't have a doctor's office, right? So it doesn't,
No.
but you have a way to help them order their blood work and
Yes.
all that so that you can see that. So you have all that worked out.
Yes.
How often are you looking at that? And then what kind of information are you really looking for when you're kind of digging into the blood work? What does that tell you?
So normally when a client signs with us, we look at the bioenergetics, the blood work, and then their extensive health history. So we never really look at the blood work by itself, although it can tell us a lot. We like to pair it with everything so that we can get the whole picture and the whole puzzle put together. But the blood work, it can show us nutritional deficiencies. It can indicate if there's parasites, heavy metals, gut issues.
A lot of things.
A lot, yeah.
Wow.
But see, we look at it very differently. Like most doctors look for highs and lows. I've always taught my kids you can be proactive or reactive.
Yes.
So when we're looking at blood work, our optimal levels are very different than a typical doctor. But I always tell people you don't want to wait until your body's, completely empty or completely stressed before you do things. So we can be proactive and, really listen to your body and do what it needs.
Yes.
In our bioenergetics, we do a lot with that. It's reading the energy of your body. It's
Can
an
you tell me a
amazing.
little bit? I've not heard that term bioenergetics. Can you explain a little to us what that?
So
Layman terms of what that is.
It reads the energy on a cellular level. So our bodies are made up of energy. Everything's made up of energy. Our breath is energy. Our heartbeat's energy. So the machine will read that energy, and then it will show us where disruptions of the energy might be. And then it will give us a balancing item that we can then imprint into a water alcohol mixture, because water can hold energetic frequencies for a long period of time. And so we imprint that, and it's basically the energetic frequencies to rebalance the body.
I've never even heard of that. Okay, I'm gonna do a little research on that. Yeah, I'd never even heard that term, and that you can read cellular energy in that way.
It really is such an old, it goes back to like acupuncture and Chinese medicine. The guy who developed this machine. And we decided to do it. Leah had it done by someone we have not met. And when the results came back, Leah said she felt violated, that it could pick up on so many things.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's not diagnostic, it's energetic. But once again, if you can keep your body in a homeostasis, then your body it's a magnificent machine that can take care of itself.
Right. If you do, yeah. So if you can find that healthy balance, then when you get an illness, you have a much better chance of fighting it, that sort of thing.
And the bioenergetics too, we can run emotional scans, and it shows where your body's holding emotions
that you might not even realize you're holding.
Since your subconscious is 90%, you hold a lot of things that you don't know.
Oh yeah.
And that transfers, when people look at me crazy like that, I'm like, you've given yourself a headache before, you've given yourself an upset stomach before. Your body, your emotional state directly correlates with your body.
Yeah.
And that is sometimes most helpful for people to recognize that what's holding them back is the emotional part that they have not dealt with.
Yeah. I totally believe in all of that. I've done therapy and I've done some coaching and stuff around mindset. And I remember when I first talked to my Stacy McFarland, was my mindset coach. So shout out to Stacy out there if you ever get to talk to her. She was the first person that I ever talked to that talked about, like, okay, when I was talking about a particular stress, she's like, okay, where are you feeling that? And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because I'm like, I don't feel anything. And it took us a while to figure out. I'm like, oh, I just feel bad all the time. That's why I can't tell. when
Yes.
I'm feeling something because I just wasn't in tune with. And then
Right.
once I started realizing, oh, I do, so my big thing is you'll see my shoulders up around my ears. I do this all the time. Like I'm ready to pounce all the time because I was so stressed out. And once I started realizing that, I started to notice, oh, I'm getting this in my throat because I'm feeling this. Like
Right.
so there's so much to it. I mean, I think about, how many times I've had headaches or backaches or other things. And I mean, the stress alone,
Right.
much less all the other things. So
Yes.
that is fascinating. Okay. We'll talk about some personal things another when everybody else isn't watching.
I
So
always tell people though, like no judgment. I'm like, if you feel bad about your emotional scan, I can show you mine and then you will feel much better. But it's a tool.
It is a tool. And that's the thing to remember when you're on a journey of health improvement, which I think mind is a huge piece of that. So I think having that energy and seeing how that is all tied together has got to be mind blowing.
Yes.
But yeah, to be able to understand how that mind body connection you talked about, like the gut and the brain connection too, which I think a lot of us don't realize. They say that your gut is the second brain. I think I heard you guys say that recently. So when you're talking to clients about all of these things, right? We've taken this very holistic approach and looking at all of these symptoms, looking at their rest and all of those things. I would assume that nutrition has got to be a big part of that, how that changes their gut. And again, that gut connection. Can you talk a little bit about the role that nutrition plays in all this?
So nutrition definitely plays a huge role and a huge part of the puzzle. And a lot of our clients, we find that we have to work on nutrition first before we can start detoxing or doing any sort of protocol. Because ultimately, if you're not getting good nutrients from the food you're eating, then your body is going to struggle trying to get rid of other things, and you're just depleting your body.
Yeah, I heard one lady say once, she's like, everything I eat, I realize it's becoming me. So it's becoming my cells, it's becoming every part of me. And I was like, oh crap, like what did I eat yesterday? Because
it is fascinating. It's so funny when something hits you like that. Like that is a powerful thing to say. I did a podcast the other day with Eliza Lomax, which will be coming out, and she's a holistic coach as well. She talks about helping people love their body, and she would say, she would ask herself, how am I going to take care of my human today? And it kind of hit me the same way. You're like, as I'm eating this is becoming me.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's good. Okay. Now that'll make you change how you think about your food. I really like that. So when it comes to nutrition, there's a million different diet books, right? There's a million different gurus. There's a million different things. How do you help your clients kind of sift through that to know what's right for them?
Well, I mean, that's a great question, but my answer will sound not very good. But what I love about what we do is that everyone is so individual.
Yes.
So what might work for one person is not going to work for another person. So it's really bio-individual. We really look at every client as their own self. So we don't have any, we're not like never eat meat, always eat meat, always do this, always don't do that. I mean, we do have some things like sugar is not good for you, period.
Yes.
Like it doesn't matter.
Nobody's arguing about that for sure.
Well, we have had some people argue about that, but
okay. Some people argue about that. I wouldn't argue with that though.
I mean, we know that like dairy in this country upsets most people. I mean, that's
talk about hormones. I mean, our dairy has a lot of hormones.
Yes.
Our meat too, for that matter, can have a
and
lot
the
of hormones.
casein in the dairy is hard on a lot of people. So a lot of people, we do suggest, like cut out these foods for a while. Let's see how your body reacts. But it's the 19-year-old that we're helping is very different than the 56-year-old or the 70-year-old. So it's really an individual approach to what they eat, how much they eat.
Yeah.
We don't want it to be so focused on
food.
You have to eat this much. You have to make sure, but getting them more to just view life differently.
Yes.
of nourish your body. Like you
Yeah.
become what you eat. So, eat good, fresh,
Mhm.
veggies, get protein, get fats. We
Mhm.
don't really have a limited, like some weight loss plans are very rigid.
Yeah, they'll give you macros. That was
Yeah.
the big
Yes.
word there for a long time. Yeah.
But we're really looking to empower people to just live a life of health. And
Mhm.
once you start looking at things differently, then it just becomes a way of life.
It just
Mhm.
becomes natural.
Yeah.
For I know I'm not the only one that'll listen to this or have this. So I've struggled with my weight my entire life.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, I got to the point after years of therapy, I was like, okay, I'm ready to let go of this weight. And I actually opted for weight loss surgery to
Mhm.
do that, which helped me lose over 120 pounds, which is wonderful.
Wow.
I still have a ways to go. One of the things that is a big concern for people like me that have yo-yo dieted, and I know lots of people yo-yo diet that didn't have that much to yo-yo, right? um, but that whole yo-yo dieting is because so often it can be so hard to build healthy habits after a
Right.
lifetime of being told, oh, eat all the carbs, pastas are fine and breads are fine because that's the base of the food pyramid,
Right.
or at least
Yes.
it was when we were growing up. And
Right.
so a lot of things we kind of learned wrong. So that I would think for clients coming to you to make these adjustments, building that habit and having that support from you to build the habit has got to be a big piece how they get
Yes.
to their successful, healthy
Yes.
Well, and we're
results.
in constant contact with our
Mhm.
clients. So we talk to them at least once a week, some more often.
Yeah.
We get lots of questions. We tell them no question is dumb. So if you have a
Oh.
question about
Mhm.
what food should I eat, or I'm struggling, I'm hungry at night,
Yeah, I need
Mm,
need
recommendations.
recommendations, or, I want something sweet, but I want it to be healthy. So they're constantly reaching out to us with questions, which we love because they're taking an active role in their health.
Yes.
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I would think that having that kind of support has just got to make the process that much easier, whether their goal is just overall health or weight loss
Yes.
in particular. But we know getting your weight down
Yeah.
is healthier for you. So I'm sure that a lot of folks that come your way, they want overall health, but a big part of it might be that they want to lose
Yes.
weight or not gain weight. Like, perimenopausal, it's easy to gain a little weight. That has happened
Yes.
to me in this last year. And I'm like, what's going on? So,
Well,
um,
and I will tell you, like a lot of weight gain, a lot of times, like if you're eating right and exercising, a lot of it is the toxins your body's holding on to
mm,
because they settle in your visceral cells, which are your fat
Yes.
cells. And we
mm,
have people who say, "Oh, I don't have toxins." I'm like, "Well, you're living and breathing, so you do." I
you
mean,
do.
they're in your food, they're in the air.
Yeah.
It's not
Mhm.
like some conspiracy theory,
No, it just is what it is.
They're in
Yeah.
your cavities, they're,
In your
Mhm.
lotion.
in your they're all over. So
Yeah.
your body doesn't know what to do with them, so it stores them in your cells.
Yeah.
So sometimes my heart goes out to women who, they're like, "Well, just eat less," or, exercise more. That's not always the answer.
No.
Yeah.
Sometimes more exercise is raising your cortisol, which will wait.
Would make you hold on to the fat
Yes.
that much more.
Yes.
It's such a tricky business. Well, this is exactly why we need, knowledgeable, supportive people that can help us sort through all
Yes.
of this. And like you said, you can start advocating for yourself because you understand
Mhm.
what's going on in your body. Is there anything that you would like people to know, like, if that's going on in their lives, and say, hey, the Wernickes can definitely help me? What, do you have certain things that we can be listening for and say this would be a good connection for Leah and Sheri?
I, to us, it's anyone. you know, we get a lot of clients like, "My doctor said I'm normal, but I don't feel good."
Yeah.
You are telling yourself, seek help. Just because your doctor ignored you doesn't mean you aren't right.
Right.
And you
Yeah.
usually are. Something's going on. It's just not some big fire yet.
Yeah.
So listen to that voice inside your
Mhm.
head and reach
Mhm.
out and figure out what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
We
That is
also,
that is such good advice, because I think a lot of times we'll see that person in the white coat and, well, they say that I'm okay, so you want to hush your own voice, but when you're not feeling right. That's
Yes.
very powerful. I love that.
I know we posted something once that I got some hate from, but I'm like, I'm 54. I sleep all night. I'm active. And someone was like, well, you're just, and I'm like, no, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm all that, but I'm saying when
You
you're
deserve
54,
Mhm.
you can sleep all night.
Yeah,
You
you really
don't.
can.
A doctor told my mom, oh, just as you get older, you won't sleep through the night. And I'm like, that's not true. It's not true.
Yeah.
So you don't have to take feeling bad as this is just how it is.
Right.
It's just the way it is. Yeah.
Just the
No,
way it
my husband, and he'll kill me for even saying this, much less say it on a podcast. He's never going to hear this, so it's fine. But when he's just a little bit older. He's only a year older than me. But when he hit 50, he was like, well, it's time to start falling apart. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Right.
Like
No.
he'll talk about aches and pains and stuff. And I'm like, but I don't have that. And I'm like, I don't think it has to be
It
that
doesn't.
way. And I think the other thing is, we don't have to suffer in silence.
Right.
No.
I think there's a lot of us that have, whether it's, physical, emotional discomfort.
Right.
And, as we age, we think, oh, well, that's just the way that it is now, but it just doesn't, if it doesn't have to be that way. And so I love that you're giving us hope that we can live happy and healthy. Health in my family is a mixed bag. I lost both of my parents, died in their 50s. My mom died at 51. My dad was 58. But both of my mother's parents, my granddad lived till he was 99, and my grandmother's getting ready to turn 98. So I'm like, I have all of this time. I'm
Yes.
choosing my grandparents'
Yes.
lifeline, but I'm like, they were very healthy into their 80s, and then they kind of started again, but if they weren't really taking care of themselves, I'm like,
Right.
if I could really take care of myself, looking at their longevity,
Right.
I can be even healthier than them
Absolutely.
into my 80s and 90s, and so I love that you have this message of hope, whether it's, you're younger or whether you're older, you can make changes in your health.
Yeah.
Yes.
We try to encourage people to ask why.
Yeah.
Like a lot of doctors will be like, I don't know, we get frustrated. So many young kids are so sick and it's just take this pill. And I would like to encourage people, like, ask why. Like, this is not normal because your body was made perfectly. So why?
Yeah.
Why?
There's something interfering that's causing the symptom. If you can remove that,
Right.
Yes.
then your body can handle what's going on.
Yes.
So asking that why
Yes.
that's the key. That's the key. Ladies, thank you so much for coming and spending some time. And really, I think the big thing is people need to understand they can get real help.
Yes.
That's really supportive, and they can have the health that they want, and it's just going to make the rest of their lives that much easier, whether they're parents or business owners or both or whatever. And so I just love your mission and what you are doing. So we will make sure that everybody knows exactly how to get in touch with you. And so please, I encourage you all to reach out to these lovely ladies, and that you do consultations, so they can start with a consultation. They don't have to jump into a whole big thing. So that's a good place to start.
Yes.
And then I love that you tailor things individually for people. I think that's so important. So thank you, ladies, so much for coming.
Yes.
And
thank you for what you're doing too.
Yes.
I appreciate you giving people a platform and educating people.
Yes.
Well, that's I mean, that's what we're here to do, right?
Yes.
I want to give people as many opportunities to have the life that they want, whether that's entrepreneur or not. I think a lot of times in this country, we're kind of led to believe we have to do things a certain way. No, we can listen to ourselves, listen to our bodies, listen to ourselves.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Create the life that you want. So thank you, ladies, so much. I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Daring CEO Co-op podcast. If you'd like to have more support and join our community, we'd love to have you. You can reach us by going to daringceo.com. There you're going to find a link for our free Facebook community. And if you'd like to be a podcast member, there will be a link for that as well. Thank you for spending this time with us. Now, go be daring.